The JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing ever, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We were watching a clip of First Things First, where they're talking about what would a Chiefs win, if the Chiefs win a Super Bowl, what would it mean to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady's legacy and all of that. I really don't know. I have a feeling I know what like Nick Wright's going to say, but I don't know. I really actually don't know which way they're going to do this because yeah, I could see this kind of going either way. So let's just jump right into it.
Good anymore. Two games out of the play-in and behind the Rockets. That's a weird one from the National Pastimes. Mahomes asked about the team of the century, the mighty New England Patriots. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, we still got a long ways to go. I mean, they did it for 20 years, and so all we can do is take it year in, year out, week in, week out, and every single day. I mean, it's something that that's the long goal, is to win that many championships and bring those titles to this organization. But all we can do is focus on the Ravens this week, and that's what we're trying to do.
Brew, I believe your rankings are Brady 1, Montana 2, Mahomes 3, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
With Brock Purdy sneaking.
Brock Purdy in the periphery, like Caleb on Mahomes' mountain.
Let's see what happens this weekend.
What would a win mean for Mahomes' legacy this weekend?
Well, like I said yesterday, I think it would add a mystique to him that is like, would put fear in the hearts of some opponents. Like if this year when they weren't that good, the Ravens looked like a juggernaut. Lamar had a better regular season and is about to win MVP, and he beats them. And it's just going to be like, how in the world are you ever going to beat this guy? Because next year, I would think the Chiefs are going to be better, right, than they are this year. As far as my all-time rankings, just beating Lamar this weekend would not make me move him ahead of Montana. I would keep him third. But if he wins the Super Bowl, and if he wins the Super Bowl, then he'd have 3 Super Bowls. Montana's got 4. He's got the 2 MVPs. Both have 2 MVPs. And he's just better than Montana. Like right now, Montana was obviously awesome. And the accomplishments, tremendous. 4-0 in the Super Bowls and was great in those Super Bowl runs, or in most of them. But I think Mahomes is just a better quarterback. And if he gets the hardware, he's got 3 Super Bowls now, I'll put him ahead of Montana. Number 2 all time.
Yeah, I will have him ahead of Montana. And I will also add that I would end up saying, and this is hard for me, Nick.
Aaron Rodgers.
You were right.
Wow.
Oh.
About everything?
About everything.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, not
Why
everything.
would we
duds.
question
Never a
Patrick
doubt.
Mahomes?
Everything regarding
Why
the
would
Chiefs.
we ever doubt? Can he win, regardless of who and what personnel that he has carrying with him? Like this, let's be real. Like this is and I hate to do this because these guys they're professional and they have all gotten better. But what Mahomes has done, no one thought he was going to be able to do this with the way they looked in the regular season. And so and I've said this earlier, this will be the best accomplishment that he's had in his career.
I would say.
So with that,
as far as that, I would say obviously the Super Bowls, I think. But outside of the Super Bowl wins and the 50 touchdown year, his first year starting, I think this would be his great. Like outside of MVPs and the 50 touchdowns, this would be his greatest achievement.
That's almost every year. That means,
So I agree, but no one thought that he would be able to do this with this team. But again, he was very fortunate because he played the Dolphins team in freezing cold weather, who also had a decimated defense, and they literally were signing people off the street. And then they played the Bills, and the Bills also, unfortunately, had an absolutely decimated defense as well. Not to mention, obviously, a bunch of key drop passes. So they got the Chiefs were very fortunate in that regard. I mean, there's just people want to tell me that the Eagles got lucky by beating the 49ers because Brock Purdy got injured in the NFC Championship game. So why is not having like 8 injured players on defense not the equivalent of that? I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me. So the Chiefs got very fortunate. The Chiefs would have struggled against the Texans. The Chiefs would have struggled against, you know, a healthy Dolphins team, maybe. I mean, at least it would have been closer. A healthy Dolphins team, or at least a team that was maybe playing in warmer weather, you know, not freezing cold weather, that we all knew that Tua and, you know, a bunch of other players from the Dolphins would genuinely struggle with. And, you know, so I would just say that it's undeniably impressive. And so to me, it would be more impressive to beat the Ravens in this situation. Okay, if Patrick Mahomes does win the Super Bowl, and I've said this in previous videos that yes, Patrick Mahomes would be even more elevated in my mind, and I would be more impressed and would say, yeah, no, I mean, I already think he is elite and one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, even if he just retired today. But he would go up even higher if he was able to, you know, beat the Ravens and have it be because he truly beat them and not because, you know, Lamar Jackson twists an ankle in the first quarter, right? And now it's like, well, you know, of course you should be able to beat them then. But if he is actually able to beat them and, you know, win the Super Bowl, then that would be very impressive. But you still can't deny that a lot of things had to go in their favor for that to happen. Again, people, for whatever reason, they don't want to acknowledge that they were very fortunate to play the Dolphins with an injured defense. Just the Dolphins in general is fortunate, let alone playing the Dolphins who were really banged up. And same thing with the Bills. They didn't have to face Joe Burrow with you know, with a healthy Joe Burrow, which would have really changed things. They you know, this whole year was so bizarre. You had the Browns with backup quarterback Joe Flacco, okay? You had Joe Burrow go down, Justin Herbert go down, and obviously their coach is a disaster and was fired. The Denver Broncos have been disastrous, and like the Chiefs, literally, if the Broncos had their act together, and same thing with the Chargers, there's a good chance that the Chiefs would have been the wild card seed, and maybe even struggled to make the playoffs, especially if those cluster injuries didn't happen. But we had many quarterbacks go down. You know, the Indianapolis Colts having to use their backup quarterback. You know, Shane Steichen was holding that team together with duct tape and scotch tape. Same thing with the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence going down, and you know, so all of those things would have it would have made not only making the playoffs harder, which the Chiefs would have genuinely struggled to do. That's just basic math. But also the playoff games themselves would have been more difficult and harder. And they got, you know, instead this year, you had the Miami Dolphins, who were just really never that good. You had the Steelers in there, which were never really that good. I mean, get rid of those two teams right off the bat, and you would enter the Bengals and potentially the Colts with, like, you know, who knows what would have happened before, I forget their quarterback's name, who got injured, or at the very least the Jaguars before Trevor Lawrence got all injured, as well as his number one receiver. So you just have to see that a lot of things went their way for them to for the river to flow in the direction that it did. It's not to take away from Patrick Mahomes' greatness, but things oftentimes, most teams that you ever look back on the past, when you see them win a championship, a Super Bowl, NBA Finals, whatever it is, you can point to concrete things that led to the outcome. People universally see that the whole reason why LeBron James beat the Warriors, even though the Warriors set the record for the most wins, was because Draymond Green got kicked out of the game, you know, got suspended. And he got suspended for the game, and that completely changed everything. Many people believe that. Many big basketball people believe that, and I bet you LeBron James even believes that. And if that's what LeBron James believes, then I don't, you know, then who are you to disagree with him? So, you know, I don't think that pointing that out for the Chiefs is, you know, wrong or such a terrible thing. It's just a reality of the situation.
I mean,
We got the two.
With that said, I really strongly believe that the Ravens are going to put an end to this because now you're actually facing a strong, healthy, competent team.
Because he hadn't thrown 50.
So here's where I'll come out on it. Because I already think he's better than Montana. Because as Brew's Brew's right. Montana has 4 Super Bowls, but as Brew talked about in the Purdy thing, those first 2 Super Bowls, he wasn't Joe Montana yet. He was great. Joe Montana was excellent in every Super Bowl.
Right.
Was downright bad in both of those NFC title games before, and like one was a shutout by his defense. And then was amazing in the Super Bowl. So the question is, can he catch Brady? And that is a hard question to answer, because of Brady's career being done. But the Olympics are coming up. We all watch the Olympics, I would assume. And when you're watching long races, what you see is the world record pace. And it's like, are they on pace or are they behind? So let's just say he wins this weekend and compare his first 6 years to Brady's this first 13 years.
So this is the problem with this, though, about catching Brady and things of that nature. The biggest is the mere fact that we have no idea how Mahomes is going to age. I know because of what Brady did, everyone thinks that, okay, with modern science and medicine and lifestyle and taking care of your body, you know, more and more players will be able to age similar to Tom Brady. And that may be true, right? Players will probably most likely play longer than they ever have. But that's not 100% true. There's probably a combination, one with luck. The fact that Brady didn't get his knee ripped into 2, right? The fact that he didn't go down and tear his Achilles like Aaron Rodgers or Cousins or Alex Smith and getting his very severe injury. And that's just bad luck. That has nothing to do, what happened to Alex Smith had nothing to do if he did the TB12 method and ate his vegetables and, made sure he, did all his stretching and all that. It had nothing to do with it, okay? It was just sheer bad luck. And Tom Brady was very fortunate, not unlike LeBron James in that regard. LeBron James has been very fortunate to not get any. It's not to say that their lifestyle and their workout regimen hasn't helped them, because it has. But at the same time, we can't just say it's the sole reason why. There's a lot of luck in injuries when it comes to that. And so you just have no idea how Patrick Mahomes is going to age in that regard. And not to mention, part of what makes Patrick Mahomes special is his ability to escape and move and scramble and to do those things. And, it's not like he gets by on running like a Lamar Jackson to some degree, where if Lamar Jackson really loses a step, will some of that special really go away from Lamar? And I would argue yes. And so I think Mahomes can obviously still throw and be unbelievable. But what made Tom Brady 100% who he was not his physicality, right? It was his pure football talent and, again, ability to read defenses and to lead and to, decision making and all of that. And Patrick Mahomes has a lot of those things, but again, a lot of it is also his athleticism, which then makes you feel that Patrick Mahomes is, an even better version of a Tom Brady, because he can do a lot of the same things of Tom Brady, but can do things that Tom Brady couldn't. So the real question is will Mahomes be able to age as well as Tom Brady did, which you just have no idea, because a lot of that is genetics. No question. If you think Tom Brady is Tom Brady because he ate avocado ice cream or whatever, it's just not true. It's just not true. I promise you. My actual traditional, true expertise is that I studied, psychology and nutrition, as well as, fitness and exercise science. So I know a lot about this type of stuff, especially with regards to genetics and how this all plays a factor. So it's just very misleading, okay? Because it's just not the reality. And so, and again, the luck. Patrick Mahomes could easily get sacked, on Sunday and tear his ACL. You just have no idea. You just have no idea. He can get tackled and just rip apart his rotator cuff. And it has nothing to do with his exercise regimen, what he eats, how much he slept. It's just bad luck. He breaks his neck. I mean, I don't mean to keep saying all these awful things, but it's just possible. So you just have no idea. Tom Brady really only suffered, one major injury? Compare that to like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was like, who knows if he was going to be able to move his neck left to right with his, his surgeries that he had to get. And again, Alex Smith and things of that nature. Aaron Rodgers breaking his collarbone, 2 times at least, maybe 3, definitely 2. You just don't know. So to me, that's why this whole trajectory or pace, as Nick Wright put it, I disagree with that, because you can't do that, because otherwise we see this especially in football or basketball more than anything. We have a player who puts up like 30 points in the half, and you're like, oh, well, he's going to get 60 points. That's what he's on. And that almost never happens that way. It's like if someone's really hot or does really well in the first 2 quarters, they always slow down in the second, in the third and fourth quarter, or whatever. You're never continuing at that pace. It's the law of averages. Numbers have to, average back out. So
Brady's first 13, that's Mahomes' first 6, with just a win this weekend. If you then also get a win in the Super Bowl, and if they win this weekend, you know what? I don't know if they'll be favored in the Super Bowl or not. They're probably better as underdogs. But regardless, he then would have a lot of time to play with, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
I don't think he would. I don't think he'd have a drought like Brady had as far as Super Bowls.
I would. Well, I mean,
10 years?
I mean, it's really,
You
Brady.
think he could go 10 years without getting to a Super Bowl?
No. I think it'd be very unlikely.
No way.
And so, that's also because, here's the thing, the difference between Brady and Mahomes, or Montana and Mahomes, is Mahomes from the day he started was amazing.
Right.
Brady was not amazing until 6 years in. He was clutch, he had amazing moments, but was not amazing until 6 years in. Montana, 4 years in. So it was amazing. Mahomes won his MVP his first year as a starter.
And as you pointed out, and this is why I would move him ahead of Montana if he gets the 3rd Super Bowl, this is like the only guy you can say really doesn't have bad playoff games.
Correct.
Right.
Like everybody else you can say has had some bad playoff. And he never does.
And a lot of those guys won Super Bowls years they had 1 or 2 or 3 bad playoff games. Defense bailed them out.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but I think Mahomes has had better teams than, say, Tom Brady has had, and definitely, undeniably, a better offensive head coach in Andy Reid. Andy Reid is superior than any offensive coach, whether coordinator or whatever, that Tom Brady has ever had. And that's just, undeniable from my perspective. But what do you all think? Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think Patrick Mahomes can break Tom Brady's, legacy as the GOAT, will win more Super Bowls? What do you guys all think about this? Would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.